What the? Zeppelin rule!
Hey, have you ever heard of this band called Led Zeppelin? Featuring vocalist Robert Plant, guitarist Jimmy Page, bassist John Paul Jones, and drummer John Bonham, they have become synonymous with rock and roll. Also heavy metal, but they really don't like that association. I try not to take it personally. You've no doubt heard some of their songs in various movies and more prolifically in various TV series over the years. They formed way back in 1968 and I just realized that's the same year my parents got married. Good year, 1968. And they released 9 albums right up until 1980 when they one day discovered John Bonham's body after a night of drinking at Jimmy Page's house, and the survivors decided that maybe it would be a good idea to quit while they were ahead and still had functioning livers.
It's not a very pleasant story, but he died, he choked on, the official explanation was he choked on vomit.
It was actually someone else's vomit. It's not,
Ugly.
you know, there's no real...
Well, they can't prove whose vomit it was. They don't have facilities in Scotland Yard to print.
You can't really
photographing.
dust for vomit.
But hey, 9 albums in 12 years? That's pretty impressive.
Most impressive.
One could easily argue that Zeppelin's songs stand out so much when they're used in films because they're so awesome.
This is so.
But what makes their music stand out even more to informed audiences is the knowledge that Led Zeppelin are notorious in the film industry for being very selective about the films they allow to license their music. Though they've loosened their grip a little in recent years, their asking price does still tend to remain around the 7-figure mark. But just as money won't buy you happiness, neither will cash alone win you their acquiescence.
I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request. Means no.
You've got to prove yourself worthy and be willing to make some concessions. Here's a few ways in which some films have been successful in convincing Led Zeppelin of exactly that. Please note I'm talking movies here, not TV, and I'm only talking original Led Zeppelin songs, not covers by other bands. Jack Black. Love him or hate him, he's done some fun movies, and School of Rock, cliche and trope-ridden though it may be, is a fun one, so much so it was made into a Broadway musical. I guess the film industry isn't the only one running out of original ideas.
And every good family film starts with a vicious murder. Bambi, The Lion King, Saw 7.
The plot is fairly simplistic. Broken recently kicked out of his band, aspiring musician Dewey Finn steals his roommate's identity to take a temporary teaching job at a preppy primary school. Upon discovering that the entire class just happened to be musical prodigies, he turns the class into his new band, begins teaching them Rock and Roll 101, and together they seek to win a local Battle of the Bands competition. Hey, I warned you it was cliche. Doesn't mean it's not fun. After all their hard work and practicing, the band is late to the audition and refused entry into the competition. Jack Black yells for a bit before finally walking away in disappointed defeat. But one of his students has an idea, so Jack Black waits to ambush the competition organizers as they leave, apologizes for yelling at them, and makes out that the kids are from a local hospital and dying, and their last wish was to play in the Battle of Bands before they die. Well, who could refuse that? Not the competition organizers, apparently, and so they drive back to school blasting the immigrant song in triumph.
Roll film!
What do they all have?
It's a, it's a rare blood disease. Stickatodemoneosis.
What's that? I never heard of it.
You're lucky. Because it's hell.
Wow.
We're on the bill. Yes! Cut it out! You're dying, remember? In the van. awards. Summer, you get an A plus and 50 gold stars.
I didn't do it for the grade.
Give me some of that. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, was that a spoiler? Did I spoil the movie? Should I put a spoiler warning before these things? Look, the movie came out in 2003. You've had almost 20 years to watch it, so no bitching. K? It's a movie about rock and roll, featuring many rock and roll songs, and is also about inducting a new generation into the world of classic rock. That entire premise fails if you can't include Led Zeppelin. I mean, that's like drinking a non-alcoholic beer. It may look like a normal beer, it may even smell like a normal beer, but everyone can sense that it is missing a vital component.
Sorry.
Originally, Zeppelin told director Richard Linklater, no, just no, dude. No. Luckily, Jack Black is not above begging, and while it may be easy to ignore a single person begging, even if that person is Jack Black, it's a little harder to ignore a few hundred people. Don't believe me? Well, see for yourself.
I just want you one time to repeat after me. Lords of Rock, Led Zeppelin! Lords of Rock, Led Zeppelin! Grace us with your mighty love! Grace us with your mighty love!
The entire filmed plea was released as bonus footage on the DVD. I'm not going to play the entire plea, but you can watch it on YouTube, and I'll link it somewhere. Can I just say, how awesome would it have been to be a member of that crowd and be able to say that you helped Jack Black gain Led Zeppelin's permission to use that song? I mean, that would be so cool. It'd be so cool. I wish I could say that. I can't. I wish I could. So cool. For those who may not have seen Ben Affleck's based on a true story drama flick, I highly recommend it. Affleck's on point both as an actor and director in this film.
Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles.
As mentioned, this movie is based around the pretty extraordinary lengths the CIA went to in 1979 after the American embassy in Iran was stormed by revolutionaries and 6 employees managed to escape and hide out at the official residence of the Canadian ambassador. Towards the end of the movie, on the hostages last night before their planned escape.
I'm laughing, but it's a laugh of impatience. Show the movie.
So you know, XF wants you to burn the passports before you leave. If you tell them now, they'll panic. I think it's best if you just don't show. It was always a fucked mission. You came closer than anybody else.
If it keeps on raining, that beer's gonna break. If it keeps on raining, that beer's going to break. When the levee breaks, have no place to stay. Need a levee, don't let a rebound fall.
Affleck originally shot the scene without any music and simply filmed actor Tate Donovan putting down the needle on a vinyl record. It wasn't until afterwards in editing that he and editor William Goldenberg went through a plethora of songs and found that When the Levee Breaks was perfect as it fully expressed that anxiety mixed with hope that the hostages would have been feeling on that final night. Zeppelin are not only sticklers for worthiness, but also for detail. Levee is actually the fourth song on side 2 of Led Zeppelin 4. Ah, records and LPs, what a time that was. Oh god, I feel old.
Right. I had to get up in the morning at 10 o'clock at night, half an hour before I went to bed, eat a lump of cold poison, work 29 hours a day down mill and pay mill owner for permission to come to work, and when we got home, our dad would kill us and dance about on our grave, singing Hallelujah. Oh. You try and tell the young people of today that, and they won't believe you. No, they won't.
Where was I? Right. So the band requested that Affleck get it right, meaning that not only would Affleck have to pay for the rights to the songs, he would also have to pay for a reshoot of the scene where Donovan placed the needle down on the specific track. Needless to say, he paid up, refilmed it, and the rest is, well, even more history, I guess. Good old Wayne's World, super quotable and with the greatest use of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody in the history of film. Fight me.
We should do tomorrow. Keep drinking. We'll have a Bloody Mary first thing, or a bite of the King's Head, couple of the Little Princess. We'll stagger back in. Back at the bar for shots. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Wayne and Garth's public broadcasting show gets picked up by a network which intends to exploit it for profit. No, really, think about it. That's essentially the plot. I mean, yes, there's a romantic subplot and so many iconic scenes, but from a story point of view, it's really that basic. Go watch it again and call me a liar. While courting the beautiful and talented Cassandra, played by Tia Carrera, who, by the way, sings all her own stuff in this movie, man, she can wail.
Now the man at the back is ready to crack as he raises his hands to the sky. And the girl in the corner is everyone's mother. She could kill you with the wink of her eye.
Wayne takes her on a date to the local music store to show her the Excalibur of Stratocasters.
Souviens-toi en anglais. Action!
There it is. Excalibur.
Wow. 64 Fender Stratocaster in classic white with triple single coil pickups and a whammy bar.
Pre-CBS Fender corporate buyout.
I'd raise the bridge, file down the nut, and take the buzz out the low E.
God, I love this woman. Hi, Garth.
Hi.
Where's the clerk? I know. I'll use the May I Help You riff. May I help you? Yes, my good man. I'd like to have a look at this Fender Stratocaster, please.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Again?
Yes.
Now be careful.
No Stairway. Denied.
You have a better chance of finding a British actor who doesn't know at least one Shakespearean monologue than you do of finding a guitar player who doesn't know how to play at least the introduction to Stairway to Heaven. As such, sales assistants the world over struggle daily not to commit either murder or suicide, or both, on an hourly basis, all thanks to customers who test out an axe by playing Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway. Not here.
Right. Well done.
The first time I watched this movie after learning to play guitar, I was really confused. Those are not the right notes, so what gives? Well, the deal that was struck over this one is certainly different. See, Led Zeppelin agreed that Mike Myers and company could use the riff, but only in the cinematic release. The group insisted that when the movie was transferred to home video, the riff be changed. And so it was. And so it is. And so it shall evermore be. You may have noticed they barely use 4 notes. 4 notes! If they'd used the whole intro or the chorus or something, I could maybe understand their demand, but why be so controlling over 4 freaking notes? No doubt a few people working on the film felt slightly vindicated some decades later when Led Zeppelin were sued for copyright infringement on Stairway to Heaven, even if the suit did eventually fail. Pre-snap MCU, back when the franchise was innocent and fun and frolicking, then Thanos came along and ruined it for everyone. There's always one.
Well done.
The story behind this, my favorite of all the Thor movies thus far. Thor is imprisoned on the planet Sakaar and must race against time to return to Asgard in order to stop Ragnarok, the destruction of his world, at the hands of the powerful and ruthless villain Hela, who also turns out to be his sister, who looks a lot like Loki, actually. I really am starting to believe the internet rumor that Thor is actually the adopted one here. In a rare move, this movie features the immigrant song not just once but twice over its whole runtime. The first time is right near the beginning of the movie when Thor is fighting Surtur and his minions, and the second is right near the end when Thor and his Revengers are fighting off Hela's minions on the Rainbow Bridge while on Asgard. Noticing a pattern here. Clearly, this is a good song to be listening to when smiting your enemy's minions.
I'm looking forward to this.
Me too. I love movies with musclemen in them.
really just makes the whole movie so much more cooler. And to be fair, the lyrics of the Immigrant Song do kind of match the movie's plot in many ways. And of course, the Asgardians were the gods of the Vikings, from whose perspective this song is written, so pick one.
Just pick an eye, babe. I can't concentrate on what I'm saying if you keep... Yep, pick one. Pick one!
I knew it.
Thor Ragnarok's music supervisor, David Jordan, is the man we have to thank. He sent Led Zeppelin the teaser trailer for the movie with the Immigrant Song attached. Once the band saw it, they realized just how appropriate the song was. Also, the fact that Marvel Studios is owned by Disney and its deep, deep pockets meant that they could easily meet any price Led Zeppelin cared to ask. Though I'm sure that had very little to do with it. It's about the integrity, not the money. I believe them. Billions wouldn't, but I believe them. Technically, this movie shouldn't be on the list as the song was featured on the trailer and the closing credits, but this story is just too good to pass up.
My mother there? But she's harmless. She's as harmless as one of those stuffed birds.
In 2006 and 2007, a group of investors bet against the US mortgage market after their research exposed how flawed and corrupt the market was, and reaped massive financial gains when it all came crashing down in 2008.
And then that happens.
What is that?
That's America's housing market.
In the trailer and the end credits. I just told you, pay attention, jeez.
Holly, get us some popcorn and put the video on for us, would ya?
Well, I can just about manage that, I suppose.
You know what? I'm pissed off. American people are getting screwed by the big banks. And I am getting madder and madder.
It's unbelievable.
Then this guy walks into my office and says,
There's some shady stuff going down. All the banks were having a big old party. A few outsiders saw what no one else could. The whole world economy might collapse.
I'm sure the world's banks have more incentives than greed. You're wrong.
No one's paying attention.
The banks got greedy, and we can profit off of their stupidity. You want to bet against the banks?
I think we're either high or having a stroke. Kind of brilliant.
Fraud has never ever worked. Eventually, things go south. When the hell did we forget all that?
How can the banks let this happen? It's fueled by stupidity.
But that's not stupidity, that's fraud.
Tell me the difference between stupid and illegal, and I'll have my wife's brother arrested.
You have any idea what you just did? You just bet against the American economy.
If you're wrong, you can lose it all. The banks defrauded the American people. Now we can kick them in the teeth. Okay, here we go.
You target strippers with bad loans.
And they're all cash rich.
Not going to be able to refinance.
On all my loans?
What do you mean, all your loans?
I have 5 houses and a condo.
This movie is about the housing bubble, how it breaks. The song is called When the Levee Breaks. The housing bubble is the levee. Do I really need to break it down any more than that?
I'm not explaining that. If you haven't worked that out, no vote for you, okay?
Well, I can, so I will. See, the whole mortgage-backed securities bonds thing started way back in the 70s, but wasn't fully exploited until decades later. In order to keep reminding the audience just how long ago the foundation was laid for this house of cards, most if not all the music in the movie is from the 70s. Take all that and add my previous comment about the symbolism of the levee in this film, and that's a pretty conniving soundtrack right there. much like the American residential mortgage industry that this movie is about. Well, the filmmakers had cut the trailer with the song and were then told they might not be able to get the rights. In fact, they were uncertain for so long, they almost had to postpone the premiere of this trailer. The producers and music supervisor were running literally around the world trying to get the approvals they needed, reaching out to the company that owns Led Zeppelin's music, as well as members Robert Plant and John Paul Jones. They even got the blessing of John Bonham's family, but were unable to get approval from Jimmy Page. Why? Well, because no one could find the fucker. It was the night before the trailer's release while the filmmakers were frantically searching for a replacement song when members of their team who were in England finally got word of where Page was. An assistant drove for 2 hours, breaking speed limits all the way, in order to get to a small countryside pub at whose bar Page was installed. Upon arrival, a computer was shoved in front of the guitarist and the trailer was played for him. After viewing, Page agreed they could use the song in the trailer. He had one condition on the movie using the song over the end credits, however, because apparently all they'd already been through wasn't quite enough to prove their worthiness. He insisted that the filmmakers make no changes at all to the song. Makes quite the challenge when you consider the introductory instrumental runs for 1 minute and 24 seconds. Through a bit of editing magic, however, the filmmakers were able to make it work by having the song play faintly in the background as the audience reads a bunch of end cards detailing the aftermath of events covered in the film. I really hope that assistant got a raise, or a promotion, or that the company at the very least covered the cost of all those speeding fines. For those sweet halcyon days of the 70s, when people hitchhiked without fear of serial killers, no one wore a seatbelt, and there was no health and safety making sure you weren't drunk on the job. More importantly, this is the decade, most of us agree, when heavy metal was truly born with the release of Black Sabbath's inaugural album.
I just had the strangest dream. It's Friday. We're at the hospital, but it's not a hospital, it's a forest of sorts. And I know that because right next to you there's a bear, grizzly, cooling his feet in a stream. And all of a sudden you begin to deliver, and I can't get to you, but the bear can. And next thing I know, he is holding our beautiful baby boy. And here's where it gets odd. He chews the cord. But strangely, I'm okay with it.
Here we have the tale of high school student William Miller, who is given the chance of a lifetime to write a story for Rolling Stone magazine about the up-and-coming rock band Stillwater as he accompanies them on their concert tour. He laughs, he cries, he loves, he learns a bunch of life lessons and all the rest of that crap that happens in a Hollywood coming-of-age film. Oh god, all over this damn movie. I mean, seriously, the theatrical release is barely 2 hours long and there's 5 Zeppelin songs on this thing. I'm not gonna play all the scenes because this video is long enough, but here's a quick montage along with timestamps.
What did I miss?
He's still singing with his shirt off.
Oh, this is great. Right here, watch this.
Welcome to New York. It's okay to be nervous. You should be nervous.
All you can do is be yourself and leave a pint of blood on that stage.
Morocco, seat by the window, please.
It's a movie about rock and roll set in the 70s and featuring Rolling Stone magazine, the magazine that has had a huge influence on the scene since the beginning of the genre.
That's it.
Whosoever be he, worthy shall have the power.
Whatever, man, it's a trick.
Oh, please be my guest.
Still don't know how you do it.
Are you even pulling? Are you on my team? Just represent, pull.
All right, let's go.
Come on, Cap. Nothing.
And? Widow?
Oh, no, that's not a question I need answered.
You're all not worthy.
Director Cameron Crowe took a copy of the finished film to London and arranged a special screening with Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. After watching the movie, they granted Crowe the rights to use all the songs. Except one. They didn't grant him the rights to use Stairway to Heaven, which Crowe had wanted to use on one particular scene, which was eventually cut from the final edit. This deleted scene was released on the extended bootleg DVD, which came with an embedded watermark advising the viewer on when to start playing Stairway. Now that is a clever way of getting around licensing. You can now find this scene with pre-readied Stairway on YouTube. Because of course you can. Well, now you know of 6 ways in which filmmakers have groveled in order to obtain music licensing rights. And people say it's Hollywood who has all the power. Go figure. Thanks again for watching. Hope I learned you a thing which will likely never be of any use whatsoever in your daily life. Welcome to my world. All resources are of course linked below if you want to read any of the articles featured, or if you'd like to hear the frustration of music supervisors and directors in their own words. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm aiming for 7 likes on this video, so help a gal out, please? Please. And do share if you think you know someone who'd find this interesting, or to prove to any Led Zeppelin / classic rock obsessed fans that they don't know everything, and allow yourself the opportunity to feel superior. Then savor it. Savor it! Feel free to suggest any video ideas you can't be bothered researching or creating for yourself below, and until next time, maintain power by holding out on people until they grovel at your feet and throw money at you in desperation.